Good morning everyone, today we're checking out a brand new video from ConEx about what if the Data Squad GeoGreymon evolved with the Digimon Adventure Crest. So is it just going to be GeoGreymon or are we going to get Galgamon and Lilymon? Nope, looks like it's just gonna be GeoGreymon. Alright, well, let's hop in and see what Con figured out.
So a little while ago, I did a video hypothesizing what it might look like if Greymon from Digimon Adventure got to use all the crests from his season, and it did okay. A few of you tuned in. Since then, we've explored the entire adventure cast, 0, 2, and Tamers, but I think we need to go back to basics a little bit. Not an entire season, and instead, on today's video, explore what it might look like if GeoGreymon, Marcus Damon's partner from Digimon Data Squad or Digimon Savers, used all of the crests from Digimon Adventure to Digivolve.
GeoAgumon, let's go. I call it GeoAgumon because technically there's no differentiating between it and regular Agumon aside from the glove things on his hand.
What is up, Digio companions? My name is ConEx and welcome back to another video. And yes, today I'm going to be looking at what it might look like if GeoGreymon were to Digivolve with the crests from Digimon Adventure. Remember, this is just for fun. We have no real lore indication that the crests affect the form a champion would take upon Digivolution, but we do know the crests influence traits of Armor Digivolution in 0-2, so it's a fun thought experiment to try and combine traits. In this instance, the dinosaur and fire elements of GeoGreymon with the elements of the Digimon that use the crest in Adventure in 0-2. Also, if this is your first video, or if you've been watching for a while but just haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I'd really appreciate it if you did. I know I'm probably just showing up in the algorithm anyway, so you might not feel like you have to subscribe, but it would really help the channel out a lot. I am trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. For me, obviously, I'd love to have that plaque in the background over here, but also to prove to Digimon Creative that this community is strong and that Digimon is more popular than ever. I know that they're watching, so I want to prove to them that we can keep this energy up. So thank you for subscribing, liking the video, leaving a comment. Appreciate it. Now, I want to dive into GeoGreymon's Digimon reference book listing very quickly, just to go over some of the things that make it a little different from good old Greymon from Adventure. It is a unique Digimon thought to be a subspecies of Greymon. GeoGreymon sports a deadlier frame than ever, with the shell on its head as well as its entire body having developed into living weapons. It uses its special move Mega Flame to shoot searing flames from its mouth, incinerating all. Alternatively, it can charge up a Mega Flame in its mouth to maximize its destructive power, unleashing the explosive Mega Burst instead. Finally, it can charge forward and crush foes with its giant horn by using Horn Impulse, another powerful attack. So yeah, it's kind of like a more deadly Greymon. Also, something of note is that its name is GeoGreymon, and Geo means Earth, something of the Earth, which kind of ties into the whole Gaia Force thing of War Greymon, right? Gaia being the planet. But maybe we could tie even more directly into Earth power when considering evolutions for GeoGreymon. And we're going to begin with the Crest of Courage, because yeah, technically, Marcus didn't use the Crest of Courage in his season. While Shine Greymon does have some connection to the Crest of Courage, and if you look at the X-antibody forms for Rise, there's also some Crest of Courage connection. Technically, Marcus did not use the Crest, which is why I think it'd be very interesting if GeoGreymon in Data Squad continuity became Metal Greymon Alterous mode. I do have some reservations about digivolving straight to a mode change, and I'll talk about that more a little bit too, but honestly, I think it's fine, especially for Alterous mode, because it is a unique designation of Metal Greymon. I almost feel like Alterous mode is becoming like a variant in my head, more so than just a mode change. Like it should be called Alterous Greymon or something. This kind of works, I think, in a fun way, because if we look at Rise Greymon, it has that big gun arm. But instead, in this instance, it would get a big sword arm, more evocative of the Sword of Omnimon, which of course...
hold on, are you really sure that is a sword? I mean, it looks more like a railgun that you could use like a sword.
Comes from War Greymon, and in general the more bladed Crest of Courage style evolutions. But that blade is still technically a railgun too, which still in some ways references Rise Greymon, and in my opinion would set us up for a fantastic mega for specifically Agumon 2006 and GeoGreymon Victory Greymon. First of all, it's a phenomenal Greymon variant at the mega level. Second of all, like I say, that sword railgun would become the massive sword that Victory Victory Greymon has, in a similar way to the gun of Rise Greymon becoming the sword of Shine Greymon, but also because Victory Greymon was a potential mega for Agumon 2006 in the Digimon Next manga, bringing everything full circle. Moving over to the Crest of Friendship, we're now thinking about combining those dinosaur fire traits with traits we see in the Garurumon family. So where Garurumon becomes bipedal and punky, a bit of a brawler, Metal Garurumon goes back to quadruped, much more ice theming and metal elements to its armor. Armor seems to be a big thing on Metal Garurumon specifically. And speaking of armor, in Digimon Adventure 02, we have...
You know, I kind of just realized with Metal Garurumon, his paws aren't metal. Like, the metal stops at what would be the ankle rest.
Raidramon or Lydramon, which has more of an element of storms going on and spikes, as well as, again, armor because it's an armor Digimon. Which is why I thought a Mega for GeoGreymon with the Crest of Friendship could be Magna Garurumon. It has a big gun focus, which it shares with Rise Greymon, admittedly not Shine Greymon, but we could inverse that sword and gun relationship with the Crest of Friendship by also using Beowulfmon as the ultimate or perfect level here. You get the wolf theming from Matt's Crest, going from a sword wolf to a gun wolf, instead of having Rise Greymon to Shine Greymon be a gun dinosaur to a sword dinosaur. And honestly, I really don't mind that we lose the dinosaur focus here. I think gaining so many traits that work from the Crest and the inverse relationship of Rise and Shine is more than enough here. I mean, like I say, it's Digimon.
I am not 100% agreeing with this. It just feels, well, it doesn't feel like Greymon at all. But hey, no. So, that's just kind of my take on it.
We have a cat becoming an angel. A little hamster fella becoming an angel. There's plenty weirder in mainline anime protagonists as it is. However, if you want another take, I think another good mega could be Dynasmon, as Digimon Savers, Digimon Data Squad is a very Royal Knights heavy season. Or if you don't want to use a Royal Knight here, you could go for Hexablaumon instead, digivolving from Chris Paledramon, which adds in some ice elements I think really work from the Garurumon family, and I think I use for the regular Greymon, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, you could hybridize these lines if you do like...
Yeah, I would definitely use the Dynamon.
Like a Royal Knights reference. Maybe GeoGreymon be...
Like, this would actually be good since, you know, regular Greymon becomes Omnimon, which is the leader and founder of the Royal Knight. So it only makes sense that one of his subspecies would also become a Royal Knight, just not an Omnimon Knight.
Becoming a Royal Knight to fight the Royal Knights, and have Chris Paledramon become Dynasmon, keeping the ice themes and bluish tones of the Crest of Friendship. Moving over into the Crest of Love, well, thank you Digimon Liberator, you're becoming so useful. Looking for a more reptilian evolution for GeoGreymon that also factors in elements of the Crest of Love, like flying. There's also fire elements, but really that's kind of a hat on a hat when it comes to Greymon family, because they're already really fire-focused. Why not Grand Galemon? It just works so well in my opinion. It gains a weapon, again more of a melee weapon, not a ranged weapon. It's a Wind Guardian, which Garudamon and Beomon and those associated have also been related to in the past. And key as an evolution of GeoGreymon, it is a bird dragon type. Now, I know what you're going to say, and I've talked about this before. GeoGreymon's a dinosaur. Well, yes, but dinosaurs and dragons in Japanese and in fact other cultures are kind of viewed as basically the same thing, with dinosaurs being more factually backed up and dragons being obviously more mythological. The Japanese word for dinosaur, Kyoryu, contains Ryu, dragon. So it's really not a stretch to turn a dinosaur line into a dragon line, especially with the Crest of Love. Editing can't here. For years, I've thought that Shine Greymon was a light dinosaur type. Nope, it's a light dragon type. So yeah, it's literally fine. Totally fine for
Geo. It is. Shining dragon.
Greymon to become a dragon. It already did. This would also then lead to us obviously having the Mega B Zephargamon, also the evolution of Grand Galemon from Digimon Liberator, and making this whole evolution line part of the Vortex Warriors, which is another prominent group which we're slowly getting members of in the Digimon multiverse. And interestingly, the kind of original most notable member of the Vortex Warriors was Medieval Gallantmon, a variant of Gallantmon who's a Royal Knight. It all connects back together. Now for the Crest of Sincerity. Well, in Digimon Adventure itself, really we just kind of get more plant-like elements coming forth, but I think it also does infuse some elements of fairy. fairies, right? We go from the very plant-like Palmon and Togemon to the more humanoid fairy-related Lilymon and Rosemon.
Yeah,
now I think
like
if we're going to evolve GeoGreymon with that grass crest, Teropiamon is great. It's a kind of plant dinosaur with leaves that look like wings, echoing the wings of Rise Greymon. But then to kind of tie it more into the humanoid fairy-ish vibes of specifically Lilymon and Rosemon, I think Teropiamon becoming its common evolution Bloom Lordmon is great. It's a warrior of justice, it carries a lance, and is a fairy type, just like Rosemon. And I've talked about it a bunch already, I'm going to talk about it more, but given that the Royal Knights are one of the oppositions in Digimon Data Squad, a part of Bloom Lordmon's Digimon reference book listing makes it perfect here, as its Digimon reference book listing specifically calls out that Bloom Lordmon's powers are said to rival those of the Royal Knights. What's more, its ability to bring sun to the stormiest of weather means it always has the upper hand when fighting outdoors. When the sun is shining Greymon, Bloom Lordmon is at his best and could rival the Royal Knights. Pretty handy for Marcus's GeoGreymon. There's the Crest of Knowledge, and this one is really tough. So yes, the Crest of Knowledge continues the bug theming of the entire Tentomon line. That line also has pretty consistent electricity powers, but it's hard to see really what the Crest adds on top. If you want to just zero in on that electricity theme, I think something like War Growlmon and Blitz Greymon would be good. War Growlmon just acting as connective tissue, and then Blitz Greymon being the electricity-themed plasma-staking Greymon variant.
Okay, no, that part at least works, but I'm not sure about the War Growlmon.
However, if we can't extract anything good from the bug and electric elements, we could turn once again to the 02 Armored Digi-Egg of Knowledge, which creates Digimon, who has drills, goes into the Earth, its Digimon reference book listing even says that it gains the element of Earth from the Digi-Egg of Knowledge. And if we take all that and cast our eye back to Digimon Liberator, well, welcome home, Preganomon. First of all, visually, while it's kind of more of a turtle Godzilla monster kind of thing, I can definitely see it as a GeoGreymon.
It is very Gamera coded.
Evolution, there is definitely a dinosaur-y dragon vibe going on here. Plus, you know, it's a mineral Digimon, it has drills. It's kind of perfect in my opinion. And hell, you could even see its big shell as kind of being like the carapace or shell of a bug-like creature too, tying more into the Tentomon family. And indeed, using that Earth side of the Crest or Digi-Egg of Knowledge also ties us back to specifically this Digimon being called GeoGreymon, Earth Greymon. And then we end on Pyramidamon, which is a little bit random, but you know, it works. It's the evolution of Preganomon. Why not? And you know that Liberator train is not slowing down.
Yeah, I am not 10,000% on that final form.
Oh man, it's almost like they did it on purpose for this video. Because yeah, I really do think that using the Crest of Reliability associated with the ocean, as well as I guess like Viking and Norse elements, but really I think I'm going to focus in on the aquatic element, especially when you consider Submarimon from 02. Yeah, let's just have GeoGreymon become Marine Bullmon and then Ryugumon. The themes combine there of sea dragons, dinosaurs, and again that dragon dinosaur cured you thing. Maybe it's a little bit obvious, a little bit on the nose, but I think it's very interesting and I think very cool. Ryugumon is also now a Shambhala Digimon, which I think is also just a fun thing to add into GeoGreymon's evolution line here. The Crests of Hope and Light are tough, for two reasons really. First of all, we just don't have a ton of draconic angelic Digimon at the correct levels. Things like Gargoylemon and Manticoremon are great, but they're unfortunately not what we're looking for here. So for the Crest of Hope, I'm once again tempted to use Nightmon. It has the Crest of Hope on its shield, and its knightly vibe I can see working if it then digivolved into something like Shine Greymon. Also, it's a knight, you know, so helping fight Royal Knights or even Karata, it would be useful. From there, something interesting you could do is have Nightmon become Gallantmon Crimson mode. I don't really know the optics on evolving specifically into a mode change in an anime like this, but honestly, who cares?
Well, from what I can remember, the only way Gallantmon could even enter the Crimson mode was by fusing and absorbing the data of his Gallito. That is what kind of gave him the push to become Crimson mode. So, unfortunately, I guess he would just end up being a Gallantmon.
Cares. I think it'd be a fun little evolution line, you know, Agumon, GeoGreymon, Nightmon, Gallantmon, Crimson mode, again, a variant or mode change of a Royal Knight to combat Royal Knights at one point would be good, but also, you know, in the rest of the season, I could see it working. It'd be also pretty funny if it showed up in the Cross Wars crossover and Takato was like, hey, that's my guy. Speaking of Takato, though, what about Takuto, or Takutomon? It is a Godman Digimon, also now associated with Shambhala and coming from Digimon New Century, and I think from Nightmon would be a good evolution that kind of keeps up the themes of hope and religiousness without being overtly angelic and still being believable that maybe GeoGreymon could be inside there.
Now this I could sign off on.
Another alternative, though, I think that would be very fun is to have GeoGreymon with the Crest of Hope become Tylinmon, which I will admit is a little weird because we do have Kentaurismon in this season already, and then Godramon. Maybe you could even go Nightmon to Godramon, you know? But I think Godramon would be interesting.
No, honestly, no Nightmon to Godramon, because that is just a huge mega jump, and I understand it's Digimon. They do the huge mega jumps all the time.
Here. Obviously, it's heavily associated with the Crest of Hope and TK or Takeru now, thanks to Digimon Adventure 2020, but this is the Data Squad continuity, so it didn't really matter too much if we double up on evolutions. There was a version of this video, in fact, where I just jokingly gave GeoGreymon all the evolutions from Adventure, but it wouldn't have worked super well. So yeah, whether we go Nightmon to Taketomon, or Nightmon to Godramon, or even throw Tylinmon to Godramon.
No, I like Nightmon to Taketomon.
Digimon in there, I think it works. Plus, again, that Dramon element, Dragon-type Digimon, hell, even Wargreymon is a dragon type, despite also having Dramon killers. Weird. Or a dragon man specifically. So if it's okay for Agumon to end up as a dragon man, I think it's okay for GeoGreymon and Agumon 2006 to end up as a holy dragon. And as a reminder, Shine Greymon is also a light dragon, so still fine. Likewise, for the Crest of Light, I think Magnadramon works very well too. Again, Gatomon or Kari's one of mainly their default mega in both the Adventure Continuity and Adventure 2020. And all that worked for Godramon thematically works for Magnadramon. I think you could change things up a little bit though by having the newly revealed Digimon from Shambhala, Shishimamon, become its pre-evolution, taking that fire of the Greymon species but leading it towards the cat-like, beast-like Magnadramon. I really don't hate that. Also, it means that potentially Hope and Light for GeoGreymon would be Godramon and Magnadramon, a nice matching pair, all while still dragons. If you don't like those though, Kenovismon and Siriusmon, they're dragon Digimon related to the stars. Stars are light, the Crest of Light kind of looks like a star. I think I honestly prefer Shishimamon and Magnadramon here though. Alright, that is the 8 crests that actually triggered Digivolution in the Adventure continuity, but we do have 3 more that either, well, we saw 1 which became an Armor Digi-Egg and 2 more which are just emblazoned on Armor Digi-Eggs, but for the fun of it, I'm going to also explore what it might look like if the Crest of Miracles and Destiny and the Crest of Kindness were to be used on GeoGreymon. For Miracles, I think straight up with its golden elements, obviously the Digi-Egg creates Digimon like Magnamon, very angular and blocky. I think the Mega has to be Zeke Greymon, right? Works so well. If we're going to have a Greymon use the Crest of Miracles, why not? And then, well, yeah, it's not golden. Maybe the connective tissue here is just Metal Greymon 2010. I'm fine with that. As for the Crest of Destiny, I just really had to think of...
Hold on, wasn't that called like Metal Bud Greymon or something?
The golden Digimon. I thought about the blades of Shine Greymon and settled on the fact that GeoGreymon with the Crest of Destiny could become Doramon and Durandamon. The kind of golden vibes of the golden Armor Digi-Eggs and their golden crest do make things a little bit less interesting for me, so I just went with golden Digimon that I could see working. The Crest of Kindness though, oh man. So obviously looking at the Armor Digivolutions of the Crest of Kindness, they tend to be cutesy and kind, and of course the Crest and Digi-Egg are pink, which got me thinking like, okay, right, do I want to use bug-like elements here? Not really. I struggled with that with the Crest of Knowledge and indeed to an extent the Crest of Sincerity. So instead let's focus on pink, cutesy, mascot vibes, just like Puchimon and Opossomon, which is when I realized that the perfect Crest of Kindness evolution for any Greymon really, but especially GeoGreymon, would be X Tyrannomon. It's a big, silly, pink dinosaur Digimon. Perfect for the Crest of Kindness, but also there's a little darkness inside of there, isn't there? Something waiting to come out of this puppet, which is why I think a great evolution bursting forth from X Tyrannomon could be Dinomon. Super unexpected. You think it's going to be cute and fluffy the whole time, right? Maybe you'd expect like
cute, fluffy, and then Godzilla.
X Tyrannomon to Jerubimon Virtue, but no, Dinomon bursts forth, literally killing them with kindness, a powerhouse. Or you could do something like Examon, which also works as a kind of thematic. It's red, which red and pink are kind of the same color, similar colors, and would be another Royal Knight for the Data Squad.
You can't make pink pink without red.
But storyline surprise, or even Lord Nightmon, another Royal Knight, which is pink. But for me personally, I think GeoGreymon to X-Tyrannomon, and then Dinomon still with the big gloves, and gloves are also a theme of kindness, just in this instance, big fiery sharp gloves. I love that one. So that is it. My idea is what it might look like if GeoGreymon evolved using the crests from Digimon Adventure. Courage becoming Metal Greymon Alterous Mode and Victory Greymon. Friendship becoming Beowulfmon and Magna Garuramon. Love becoming Grand Galemon and Zaphagamon. With the Crest of Sincerity, it becomes Teropiamon and Bloom Lordmon. Knowledge leading to Proganomon and Pyramidamon. Reliability becoming Marine Bullmon and Ryugumon. Hope becoming Knightsmon and Godramon. Light leading to Shishimamon and Magnadramon. Miracles being 2010 Metal Greymon to Zeke Greymon. Destiny being Duramon to Durandamon. And the Crest of Kindness making X-Tyrannomon and Dinomon. These are of course just my subjective silly picks, so let me know your ideas in the comments down below. No one's correct because it's a weird little headpiece, a little exercise that we're all just thinking of. Thank you to my sovereign ZDK14 as well as everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/KhanEX and my YouTube channel members here on YouTube. I do really appreciate them. You can join them with that little join button down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.